Hey, it's Empyreans, welcome back. The following video is a in-depth mole guide for new players and old alike. It might help people to make better decisions when spending real money on the game. It goes for over an hour, so it might be a good video for putting on in the background and having tab and just listening in the background. Otherwise, yeah, I thought it was going to be 20 minutes, but it just kept going and going and going. I just cover what you can see in the game in item mall right now. I look at every item, I discuss good, bad, crap, useless, etc. And I give everything a little bit of a label and a discussion about it. It's not super well scripted. It was supposed to be like a one take, but here I am doing a new intro. And at the end of the video, I will do some concluding stuff leading into my next video. So I hope you enjoy and, cue the intro. Battle reward score 50%. If you're ever wondering, you can just click on obtain and check it a little bit more closely. You might get a bit more information. Most of the time you'll get the right information, but see this free of charge, blah blah blah. Actually looking at it, at least you can see it's sealed. Not everything is sealed. You might want to check that before you race into it. Just as an example, magic sticks are not sealed, so worth paying attention to, and they're bound on acquire. So yeah, let's not go off on too many tangents. Battlefield reward score 50%. That is a large boost. I think you can get a 20% TD. Not sure how much all the boosts stack. If they don't stack, this is probably the biggest boost you can get your hands on. There is a 2-day version of this that I think I can look up today, but it's not important. 500 item mole. Now I'm going to go straight ahead and say, for me, mole is priced at 2kk per point, which would mean a 500 item mole item would cost 1 billion lant. I think that's the fair price. I think there are a lot of people asking for more than that, and I know there are some people who are asking for less than that. So 2kk per point is my price point, and that's a really important thing to know for the value of your item. So if this cost me 1 billion in lant, do I think I can get enough value in 30 days with 50% extra battle reward score to make up that value? Or is it just, am I just better off selling the 500 item or points and then using the land from that to get what I want, to just buy it outright? Now, there's a lot you can do with 30% Battlefield. I would say if your focus is on FOC points, it's really hard to cap points even on Christmas. I think it might be possible. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of the cap. Probably is at 10,000, but you don't get there as easily. But there's a lot to spend your points on, including armors. Some people ask to buy these sometimes because they can't afford them. They can't get into Battlefield. They don't have the willpower to farm themselves. So you can even get little coupon boosts as well. But these vials of blood is what you'll really spend most FOC points on. All in all, to get a really powerful level 50 endgame enchant, which I don't want to get too into in this video, you need like 800,000 plus points and a lot of other resources. So, and you might get 5,000 points maybe per FOC, probably less. I mean, I'm not an expert anymore. I haven't played FOC for a while. They're really high value enchants. You can always sell some Iron Mine stuff, like the skill crit ones are pretty good, and the crit ones, people will buy them. So you definitely start making that value back. I would say it's worth it. Theme battle compensation, these theme battle weapons can be a bit pricey once you get down to the end. 30,000 points. Theme battle, you can definitely get cap points with minimal bonuses, with just getting a high enough contribution. If you struggle to get a high enough contribution, this 30%, this 50% battlefield item is pretty good. PB armors, your initial, this becomes the level 50 enchant, or maybe you're just making a ton of theme battle corrosion compression tokens, which will come up later in this video when we start talking about tools. So I think it's worth it if you're going to farm. You definitely, if you intend to farm. Maybe it's not worth it around Christmas time because you can use cards to get this battle score up. It's not a huge boost compared to what Christmas cards become. So that's a good item. Okay, so I know I'm mostly one-taking this. I'm going to describe items as like whether they're really good, if they're a necessity item, like you need this item to finish your character to make it endgame, then it's going to be up there as good. I'm going to talk about whether if they're okay, whether they're bad, or whether they're absolutely don't touch it, it's useless, do not buy it kind of crap. Let's talk about the next item. Duration repair tool, 30 days. 200 item all, not that much, 400 kk of land, 1k per k per point. You use this so you can repair your gear in the middle of a raid without having to go back into town and find a blacksmith. There's a blacksmith around the corner from me. I picked Triffery because it's a good place to get to all the different NPCs I need to discuss. 30 days is a long time. You can get a 2-day version of this. This is really for raids. It's really for characters who intend to raid but probably die a lot. Raids would be like Black Tower, raids like possibly Altar of Sacrifice, Erenal's Tower. That's about it really for raids where you probably die a lot. Is it good? Nah, you can just get the 2-day repair tool. It's okay, but you can get this if you really want. XP, alright, we'll talk about these in one big group. Obviously there's a discount if you're going for the 2000 for 30 days. I'm not gonna do the math for you, but you know, it's better 30 days over 7, 7 over 3, 3 over 1, and 1 over 1 hour. Obviously. The benefit of the 1 hour one is you could just get all your quests saved up, all done, ready to drop off. Wait for double happy hour. Grab your double happy hour because they stack. Grab this XP 1 hour because they stack, because it stacks. Maybe you've got premium. Maybe you've got TD bonus. Maybe you've got your pet and your guild bonus and all those bonuses, and you go and drop off all your quests in that 1 hour real quick. Real quick, smash them out and get that extra 30% on top of all your other rewards. This would be a normal strategy for any character leveling up through a game, especially in free-to-play, acknowledging that this is a mole item and it's pay to win, but the more free-to-play, the more this might be really good when you're at a particular point in the game. Just a couple, you know, might only need 125 more points worth of these to make a pretty sizable impact on your character. If you say had a good weekend where you knew you were going to be free, you didn't have to work, and you were going to put in a lot of effort though and do like a lot of quests, you could go for a 1 day or 3 day. If you're on holidays, you could go for a 7 day. If you had a lot of free time, or you were doing a lot of AFK macro grinding or something like that, you might go for the 30 day and get the best value for your money because you know you're going to use your time. Is it good? It is good. It's good. These are good, but you don't need them. So, not the best, but they're pretty good. Compound tools. Alright, the 1 hour one is shite. It says you pay 50% of the original price. Now, it's 100 item more, but come on, it's a 1 hour tool. That's crap. When we get Forge events, they normally go for at least 2 days, but usually for a week, or at least 3-4 day kind of long weekend kind of style. Sometimes we get a forge event and it'll go for 2 weeks. Sometimes I've had at least one event in my recent recollection where it went for a month. There's no point going for the 2-day tool because there's a 30-day tool that costs the same. So 300 item all, and it says you paid 10% of the original price. Yes, that is 90% off, so it takes a lot of cost off of the compounding. Now, to really explain, to really show that off, so it says here you pay 10%, you press obtain. Over here it says 90% of the original price. That can be confusing. So I'm just making sure you know, so you don't find this confusing. That it is 90% off. You only pay 1/10 of what you would otherwise pay. Now, compounding. Alright, let's have a little look at why this would be valuable. I've got 2 stacks of rares here. At 1,000, you compound them together. 8 million, alright? There's no forge on, it's a pretty crap chance. You get 40, so you can have, we have our typical good forge is a 42% forge these days. So that's putting this at 62%. So it's better than a coin flip, but you're gonna fail reasonably often, and sometimes more often than you'd like. It costs 8 million. So if I were to try and make, 100,000 Karis, and that's not unrealistic, I've done it before, I would need, first of all, I would need 200,000 rares, which I might have stashed somewhere. But I would also be looking at 800 million land in compounding fees, at which point I could just be buying Karis. Sometimes the cost to buy a stack of Karis is cheaper than what this is. And when I look at 62% chance success, I usually treat it as a coin flip, and I'm thinking of that 8 million being 16 million upon all my successes. So if Karis costs less than 16 KK to just buy, you're better off buying it than you are compounding these. Now you take that compound tool, which was 300 item all, and you take it, and you think of the 1 KK per 1 KK? Was that? 2 KK per point. And it's 600 KK. KK, by the way, is our abbreviation. A K is 1,000, a KK a million. KKK is a billion. So 600 KK. 30-day tool. So if you think this through, and this is for the rares, but you can go from simple to superness to eximus, and then more land sort of stacks up as well if you're doing like the whole process. You can do the math. I'm having a mental blank, but 8 million, 600 million. Yeah, if I wanted to make 100,000, I'd be better off. I'd definitely be better off with a compound tool, and I could make a lot, and I could be making 100,000 to sell Karis. It could be a forge event. I could have a ton of compressions that I've been farming from server versus server dungeon or something like that, or I'm just buying rares and compounding them, or I don't know, for whatever reason you could be doing a lot of compounds in that way. There are other expensive compounding schemes in the game. You can put level 5 enchants together. They'll all be the same. That's not that expensive. Yeah, that's not that expensive. I guess the main expense is compounding stuff like rares together. I don't know off the top of my head if there's anything as expensive for like lots of stacked up compounds, but a compound tool could be useful for that particular task. We'll move on. Is it good though? Yeah, it's good. It's really good if you're prepared to use it and you're lucky enough to get at least a week out of Forge and hopefully manage to catch a second week of Forge, because you might have Forge, for 7 days, then 2 weeks off, and then for your last week and a bit of your 30 days, another forge. Or if you're mega lucky, like I was once, you get the whole month. You get the whole 30 days. Moving on. Item enchant tool, 200 item mall, 30 days. Same deal. Same deal. It's not really useful. If you had, I haven't done the math I wanted to for this video, but there's like 140-ish enchants across all your gear, including my permanent costume. 140-ish. I think you might use an enchant tool if you were prepared to enchant your entire character in one hit, and I don't think anybody does that. So generally I'm going to call it bad. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's necessary. It's definitely not important to a new player. Won't worry about it. Reduction tool. This is again similar to our compound tool. Is it useful? It is. It's pretty good. 30 days, 200 item mall, so 400 KK. I've got me a frozen compression token here. This is going to be our example. Item reduction smith. Put her in. 190,000 per token. Now, I think you can stack these up to 1,000 and then you could reduce them all. So 10 is 1.9 million. 100 is 19 million. 1,000 is 190 million. So if you had 2 stacks of these and you were going to reduce them all, it starts getting pretty close to 400 million land. You can make land by reducing these. Like, you really can. The tokens that you get, you can just sell back. I don't have any on this character, so I'll just reduce. Boom, boom. Look, and we got a decent enough roll for these tokens. They're 50,000 each. What did I spend again? 190,000. Where's the nearest NPC I can sell to? 190,000. You can sell them. I think that's 2.9 million. So I made a profit. So you can, in theory, just straight up sell them. You can make more just selling the compression. I think they go for about 4 million per compression. If I were to save up a stack, it's probably because I was buying them from people who were farming the points and buying them from the NPC. So it is a way to make land, just selling them straight to the NPC like you just saw me do. But they do make endgame enchants, so people sell them for more than they would otherwise make selling to an NPC. Even though that was a pretty lucky roll, you can get less than that, you can get more than that, you can get up to 100, or you can get 1. Where you would be losing land if you got 1, if you did it that way. So 2,000 frozen compression would break even. It's not the only example. You could use a reduction tool. There's one thing I have failed to mention about these tools. You get the added benefit of not needing to be here. I could be forging in the middle of a raid. I could be reducing items in the middle of a raid. There could be lots of items dropping in Black Tower, and all the armors that drop, you can reduce directly into Maximus. You could be in Free to Mine. All the armors that drop there, you can reduce straight into Eximus and rares, I believe. So rather than having to go back and forth from town, you could just stay there. Rather than deleting all this gear, you could just reduce. You could even, in Free to Mine, because it's an open dungeon, have a pet and just be grabbing everybody else's gear that they're not picking up because they don't want it. So when it times out, you get the loot. And you can just be reducing their gear, and then you're getting all these rares and all these Eximus, and then you can do what I said with the compounding, and you can make a bunch of Kairos and sell it and get rich. It's an option, so that's another advantage to the tools that makes them a little bit more valuable. The reduction tool, is it useful? Yeah, if you're going to use it. If you're a new player, you could use it. Jesus, has it really been 20 minutes? Look. Excuse my language. Reduction tool. Okay, so if you're a new player, rather than having to delete, you could be wherever you are in the game, you could be reducing the gear that's trash all the time. You'd never have to worry about buying Xeons. You could just chill, you know, on that regard, play through the game and make use of all the resources that come your way. So it's a good item. It's probably one of the best items for convenience. Reinforcement tool, there's a 2-day and a 30-day one. They are the same, so you will get the 30-day one. Another redundant item. This is the best out of all of them. I'm not going to do the math, but some items like a scad ball or a theme battle weapon or a piece of darkest armor can clock like between 200 and 400 kk to reinforce from 0 to 30 without a tool. So if you plan to reinforce at this price point, it's like 700 kk based on my 2 kk per point. So if you plan to, so 3 items, if you plan to plus 30 more than 3 items, it's probably worth the reinforcement tool to bring the cost down. If you plan to reinforce like all your darkest gear on one character in one hit because you've been saving for a long time, definitely reinforcement tool, really good. I guess it's not as good as the reduction tool because that's useful to like a new player who's just cruising through the game and, you know, can make value. Reinforcement tools is more for somebody who's, you know, ready to finish their character, really make their character, that sort of thing. Land drop. I don't want to talk about this one for long. It could be good, but I don't think it's good. You'd have to really make use of it. At 800 item more points for a 50% boost for 30 days. It's like, at my price point with this, 1.6 billion land. And I don't think I could make that off of 50% in 30 days, even if I was AFK farming in Black Tower. Maybe if you did a lot of active farming in Frida where the land is a better drop. I don't know. I probably give this one a skip. I don't think it's very good at this price point. Reinforcement coupons. Okay, these are not essential. You can max out your character with dailies, free-to-play method. And I would recommend doing those dailies because it can be really expensive to max your gear without them. I have to turn my game capture off for this. Window capture. Display capture. There we go. I have done... Camera's not in the best spot. Put it over here. Alright. I have done a lot of math before. So I hope you can see this okay. But on a 42% forge, which as I discussed before is our typical good forge, if you go through all this math, which I won't, save some time, it comes out at about 320, 10%. So of your dailies, 320, or aka 320 individual daily quests. You can do 9 per 12 hours because there's a reset every 12 hours. So you can do 18 per day. I skip one quest because it saves me like 5 or more minutes out of the lot. So I do 8, and all my calculations are for 8. I'll skip down a bit. I've done some math for... We one time had a 47% forge. So I did some math for that, so I was ready for the next time we have it. DQ projection. This is the good bit here. Based on dailies, and it does matter for talking about these coupons. I do it on 4 or 8. Why did I write 8? Because that's the amount of quests. Alright. So per character doing 8, 320, which is the amount we want, divided by the amount of quests is 40, so that's once a day. Knowing that I can do it twice a day, per day, if I want to work out the day, divided by 2, is 20. So it could take 20 days. That's it. That's all you have to do. 20 days of putting in the work, and you can have that 320. do it on multiple characters, and you can have, you know, because you could be multi-logging like I do, and in 20 days you could have 4 or more characters that have their 320. It does get really grindy though. All this other math is to do with other stuff, so don't look into that too much, including some money calculations that you don't need to know much more about. I don't think I need that up anymore. We'll go back to the game capture for now. Okay, so you can buy this stuff. So the 10%, you compound 3 10% into a 15. And then you compound 3 15s into a 20, and then it stops. That's where the free-to-play stops. If you go here, you can... the more expensive on your time for dailies is the 20% ones. So you could buy the 5-pack of 20s to reduce the amount of time you have to do dailies. This is okay, but it'll still make your darker set cost you, like, I think when I did the math when I was making my Mystic, it was like, oh yeah, I have to spend another 80 to 100 USD to mitigate the cost, but not eliminate it altogether, which was kind of annoying. Because I was at that time, I really wanted it, and there is a little bit of that pull in the game. If you put in the work early, you can avoid having to spend money at all. So they're okay, they're not great. Don't reinforce low level gear with any of this stuff, because, you know, it really should be reserved for the end game sets. You can buy 25s and 30s. Technically with 30s you could plus anything to plus 30 without Forge, so at least there's an option. If you're here and you're a millionaire, go for it. You don't care, go for it. Spend a few grand on the game, go for it. I'd love to see that. Make a video, please. That'd be awesome. And do some collab. Alright, so we're gonna move on now that I've explained Forge and the coupons. Bank common account expansion 30 days. I wish this item was permanent. That's going to come up in one of my later videos. It's temporary, so it only lasts for 30 days. Premium will give you bank account 1, 2, 3, and joint 1 and 2. The expanded bank slot item that I was just showing you will give you 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I don't 100% remember if it gives you the rest of the banks. I don't think so. I think it's just the joint accounts. I could be wrong. The question is it worth it? If you're a new character and you're playing a lot and everything's messy and you don't have your second account, your like other accounts set up to trade with, like mule accounts as we call them, then it could be worth it. It's 200 item more, but again, it's a temporary item, which makes it a pain. I wish it was permanent. Otherwise, if it was permanent, it'd be like, yeah, 100%. And on a few characters too. I probably would have spent more on this item if it were permanent. Shout out to the developers, you know, make this better. So is it good? If it's a busy event and there's a lot of items, it could be pogs, it could be Christmas cards, something like that, maybe. That's when it's worth it. Otherwise, no. So I'd give it an okay. Binds. Oh, right. Binds. Bind on acquire. Some items bind when you acquire them, like your darkest gear. This ties back into our dailies, because if you're doing dailies for your 10% on multiple characters, then you would have to use a bind on acquire to move from a character who's not the character where the item is going to end on, just a mule character really, to put that piece of darkest from that 50s character to the character that you're actually gearing up, which means this can be a necessity. This can be I need this item to, you know, move stuff around and make it happen. They cost the same as your buying on equips. The advantage of items, which is most of your items, all these accessories, that's another example on a bound on acquire. You don't need a bind for these fluids, they're good. my Scad Ball, that's a bound on equip. Once they're equipped, then you're gonna have to use these binds to move them around, or to sell them, or to, yeah. So when it comes to your 50 characters, everything that's free to move around will cost you nothing. So that's great for your dailies. So that definitely puts the bind on acquire ones up in value, if you ask me. And if you're doing the daily strategy to spend less, but you're still going to spend some, then you're going to be stuck doing this. You're going to be stuck. It's going to be a necessity. You might need to do 5 of these for your darkest gear, or 6 if you're doing your dailies somewhere else, to get it onto your main character or onto the ult that you're working on. Now, I've done the math, like, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16, 17. 17 items. 17 binds. If you were to sell your character, you know, if you were to buy someone's character, they're probably going to be like, everything's bound, except this. So, you know, how much is that? I'll just get my calculator out, not that you can see it. 17 times 200, 3,400. So there's 3,400 more. So even if you buy someone's character and they're like, I want $100 for my character, you're still going to have to buy 3,400 moles just to move stuff around. So it can be a very important item. Character name change. Look, character name change. This is really for someone who just wants the right name for their character. They have a name, they made a character, they didn't think they'd like the game, then they fell in love with the game, but they had a stupid name like 66668 or something like that, and they want to change their name to, you know, Artemisa or Gotik or Daedalus or something like that. Fair enough, or Data. You might want to do that. So, but 1,000 item ore is a lot of item ore for such an item. I don't think you should, if you're a dick and you're trying to, like, you know, disappear and change your name so you can stop being hated by people. People have a really good ability to work out personalities, and once you're like, if you're a dick, you're a dick, and it's hard. It's really hard to just change your name. So, good item, I guess. Not something I've ever had to use. Compounding protection Xeon. These are important. You might be compounding these, for example. Now, there's a 1, 2, 3, and 4 compound, and I'll show you the rest of them later, but we're on the compounds for now. You might want to protect the level 5 enchants. You might not have many, so you would want like a compound protection 2. What it does is it protects slot 1, then the 2 protects slot 2, and it gets more expensive. And then as you go up the ladder, if you wanted to protect the 3, you get the 3, and then the 4. When you're doing your darkest gear, you are using really valuable resources like 100 Atma, a complete puzzle piece, a previous darker piece, and greater particles or waves. So, moving on, compound protection 4. So, you have 6 pieces of darkest gear. I think it's around 64-62% with the 42% forge as a success chance to succeed. So it's like a coin flip. So you're gonna need at least 6 of these at the end game. You need them. You're not going. You could free to play, but it would mean risking losing everything on a piece of darker to darkest gear and having to go and farm it all again. And it is a lot of resources without me describing it all. So you need at least 6 of these, but you could need 12. Or possibly even more if you're unlucky. I think I usually average around 10 of these, which would be 1,500 item more, or 3 billion land. So these are important, these are good. For a lot of little projects. There are some endgame enchants where there's a lot of compounding involved, where these can come into play, including the battlefield enchant that I mentioned before, where you might want to protect 1 and 2, or at the very least protect slot 1, which is the enchant that you've been working on. You can be at level 43 and you're going to want to protect it. And then it gets bloody expensive. So, yeah, pay to win. Compound success rate, Xeon. This is you can make a 9% with Atma and a special item in the game for free. So if you really want that extra 1%, go for it. It's not necessary. It can speed things up a little though, in the sense that maybe you don't want to do all the extra forging because you got to do a lot of button clicks. You know, it's a bit convenient. By the way, those coupons, they go in 5 and 6 slots. So you can use a 10% and you can use the protection Xeon. Or a 9% and a 9%, or a 10% and 10%. But, you know, only that sort of combination really works here. Okay. Now, I know this video is going for a while, guys. I didn't think it would go this long. I hope it hasn't been too wordy. It's hard to rehearse this and then get it right. I did rehearse it and I'm surprised at how long it takes every time. So I'm just going to keep going. DNA, okay, DNA initializing. A skill reset or a job change will reset your DNA. So this is only useful if you just want to change your DNA. If you're going to do a skill reset at some point in time, and you can do your daily login reward at 50, you'll get a skill reset. So if you get there, you don't need this. So you can definitely avoid this. So if you just want to fix your DNA, there you go. It's nice to have, doesn't cost that much, etc. It's okay to good, but you can avoid it. Enchanting reset Xeon. I use these because the cost to restore 1 failed slot. Let's look at an item here. I've got items that have failed slots. See this one? It's a 7 out of 7. And I don't think I'm happy and satisfied with what's on it. So I probably would reset it, so that's where the resets come in if I ever wanted to push for an 8-8, but I'd also correct the enchants, because I believe there's 5 full regals on this, and then just half regals after that, and I might want full regals all the way. If this was 7-7 full regals with 1 failure, and I wanted to put in the final regal, I would use a enchanting stage restoration. They're expensive though. They're like 200. If you buy the 5-pack, this here is a 5-pack. You can tell by just clicking on obtain, like I mentioned before. For 200 each, so it's twice as expensive as a reset. So if you had to use 2 of these, it would be like worth 4 enchant resets. Now I've got to have other, like this one here is an absolute no way would I use 3 enchant restoration items on it when it's failed 3 times. I'd just reset it, and you can, the trick is to just pull the item, and this is why I bought this here, because this is your free to play when you find them, acquire them, etc. Go to the enchant smith, success reduction. Okay, so you can put these in here. This will let me pull 1 enchant out. It will do nothing else. And then you click OK, you pull it out. And then it will go down to 4 out of 5. I can enchant the 5th slot, but it doesn't restore the failed slots. So I can get these, don't cost that much compared to what I'd be paying for a restoration. 200 each, so that's 400 KK, so it's probably worth just 5 of these, even if that's 100 KK in itself. Pull all the enchants out, reset it for 100 more, and just go again, and hopefully don't lose more enchants. If you're using really expensive enchants, like regals are sort of 3rd tier, 4th tier enchant endgame, But if you're using like resonators, like full resonators, you might want to use restoration the whole way because it's like so expensive to make. You might also be looking at like a weapon, like maybe you're doing 8 level 50 enchants, which no one should be doing unless they're hacking the game and duping, because they shouldn't have that much. You know, it takes so long to get the 800,000 FOC points that you need. You might use restorations all the way. Okay, I think I can move on from that. Where were we up to? Here. This enchanting Xeon extractor looks cool, doesn't it? It basically is the same as this, only it can pull all the enchants out in one hit. You can get tools that do pretty well the same thing. We had an event, and we'll probably do that event again soon, to be honest, where these dropped for free, and we got lots of them of varying numbers. The number 1 means take 1 item out. You can get 8s, you can get 7s, 6s, 4s, 5s, 3s, 2s. So you shouldn't really ever need this. This isn't really worth it. Worth it if you're in a rush and you can't find a seller of these. Job change certificate. This will change your job, doesn't matter what level you are, and reset your skills and DNA. Won't affect your possession based, which will come up in a minute. If you start a character and you want to be a protector in the endgame or a commander in the endgame, but you don't want to have such a hard time getting there, and you're like, I want to play the mage that's like really good at groups of enemies, and I level faster and I can do AFK farming and things like that. You could go Tempest. You could go Templar, then Tempest, and then get to the endgame, get to level 97, and then job change. Yeah, people do it. I do it with Druid a lot. Druid can be really fast, and there's an exploit to get into Black Tower. I'm not going to mention that much more here. Where if you're fast, you can do that. So you need to be fast to pull off the exploit, and Druid can do that for free. So I don't have to buy 30-day mounts and things like that. So I can level up to 97 with my Druid, and then I can use this job change. So it can be a really powerful item in that regard. Is it good? Yes. Is it expensive? Reasonably. It's pretty good. You could in theory have an event where we get these for free, but we've only had skill resets for free before from an event, like Santa Claus as an NPC kind of thing. Moving on. Possession based skill controller, it's a skill reset for your PB. It's the only way to do it. So when you screw up your PB skills and you want to reset them, move some skill points around, which is likely to happen. There you go, 100 item or good item. Thank you. Cheers. Raid resets. If you follow when the raids will reset, you don't need to use these, and you can use party tactics to bypass getting bound to a dungeon, such as strategically running out of the dungeon, or going character screen and then back, or something like that, while one of your party members slays the boss. Then he waits for everybody to come back into the dungeon and you roll for the loot. It's a pretty common strategy, so you don't have to have this. And there are a few other raid instances where you can avoid being bound. Outside of that, there was an event not long ago where people could farm 1,000 of these for free. So yeah, maybe worth waiting for that event to come back around. Outside of all of that, you could, when you combine this with a chance maker and you plan to power farm a boss, probably by yourself, that's when it becomes very effective, as a useful, worth the cost if you're getting some really high-end enchants, because you're raiding Voxian over and over again because drop rate is up or something along those lines. I'm going to move on though from this one for now. It is good. in the right circumstance, but obviously if you can get them for free, it is bad. Use tactics as a free-to-play player and avoid these. Random stat revamp Xeon. Alright. There's a lot of gear, including Darkest, that has random stats. My Crystallia doesn't, but this Fluid, for example, which I don't know if I can reroll that, let's find out. Scadball doesn't. Yeah, your Darkest certainly does. And when you make your gear, you really want, like, there's such a wide variance in the random stat. So yeah, I can use it on this. Now, some items you probably don't want to use the random stat reroll on. All my gear is relatively high in its random stat. Random stat. I would use probably at least 5 of these on average per piece of gear to try and get a high roll. You could get a comparison to go by if you can get someone to print screen their gear if they've got the gear that you plan on having, so you can compare. There's quite a lot of gear in this game with a random roll to encourage you to buy these items. There are some cases, like with the fluids, for example, like this, don't really have to re-roll it, just go make 100 of them, go make 500 of them, and you're likely to get a really high roll. It's the same with the SVS gear. You can just farm hundreds, if not thousands, of these until you get a high roll. Or if you want, you can spend thousands of item more and just re-roll it here. Yeah, you could do that. But definitely use it on your Darkest to get some good stats, and wherever possible, like I'm going to use this on my Avenger, this launcher. It's a medium sort of roll, 50%. Don't know if I'm going to re-roll it. Mythic Doom Cherish has been removed temporarily, hopefully coming back soon. I would rather farm for a better one than use more on it, because yeah, that's me. It's good. You need this. This is good. Save ahead of time. Reinforce Enchant Protection Compound Xeon. Okay, these are hard to explain how these work, but if you fail to compound your items will be destroyed. That's if you use a Reinforce Enchant. Okay, so I'm pretty sure, I don't use these very often. This is for an item that has reinforcements and enchants on it, but you're compounding it. And you're compounding it to... what are you compounding? What is this particularly used for? It's one of those items that's weird. I'm pretty sure... oh, by the way, another example of the compound tool being relevant, if you were to do a lot of rerolls, well, it costs 10 million. It could cost 1 million during Forge per reroll. If you were to do 10 rerolls, that's 100 million land. If you were to do 100 rerolls, that starts to become a lot of land. You might even do 1,000 rerolls. So if you were going to do a lot of rerolls, compound tool is very OP and worth your money. I'm really sorry, I'm going to fail on this one, but I know there is a point to these enchant reinforced protection compound Xeons, but I've honestly never had to use them, and I've seen people buy them and be a little bit like, why the fuck did I buy this again? So maybe just avoid this item. You know, if anybody wants to comment in the comment section, go for it. And let us know what I specifically use this item on. Don't use it. I've never had to. Why should you? And this item says all reinforcements and enchants will remain, so it shouldn't matter based on that stat rating. Okay, reinforcement protection deterioration rate, 100% down. These used to be useful before we had dailies. There used to be a method to max out your gear, where if I put this in here, okay, this isn't really high up, it's just some lamenting sound armor, but eventually you get a high deterioration rate. And if you put in a 100% deterioration reduction, it pretty well removes it altogether. When an item deteriorates, it can drop like 9 pluses, so like 9 chunks of your work can be reduced. It can really suck to have a deterioration happen. So that one item or item removes that. Now if you have a 100% success chance, it ain't failing, so it doesn't matter. So it used to be a way to plus gear up where you might fail, but at least you wouldn't lose anything. So you just keep rolling the dice until you get to max. Now the break rate also has to be removed altogether. And you can put 1, 2, and 3. So the 100% deterioration, and then 2 break rate ones, which I think we get from. I don't think there was a crash coming. Yeah, there isn't one here, like 100% one. There are some events where you get some options. One of these, break rate. Okay, so you can get 225. So you can reduce the break rate by 50% on top of things if you've got the points. So that used to be a method, a pretty effective method, to be honest. But with dailies, you don't have to do it at all. Is it good? Nah, not really. Maybe it used to be sort of an okay method. I don't know if anybody still does it. Reinforcement coupon. This is a relic. Don't buy it. This is one of those absolutely don't buy it. Obviously, you can just do dailies for a 10%. It's someone I know. He's probably talking to me. Skill reset. Okay, you can get this for free in 2 ways. The skills are fucked in this game. Some of the descriptions really don't say what's going on very well. This is a good item because you might really change your skills quite frequently, and you might change between a more PvP set of skills and a more PvE orientated set of skills, or a more support related set of skills. Maybe you just want to play around with different niche skills. So it's pretty good. I like a skill reset. I'm back. Sorry, the cat broke a glass and I had to help clean up. Where was I? I was talking about summons. So summons, they used to be in 10 packs. You can save a little bit of item all by buying the cheapest one here, but a party is limited to 5 members, whereas a alliance party is limited to like 5, 10, 15, but then it's like 45, I think, you can have. So this can teleport 45 players at once, this can teleport 5 players at once. The guild teleport is useless. From what I understand, it doesn't work even when used by a guild master, so never buy it. It's broken. Another one of those broken items. I use my summon party member for my daily 50s. I use 2 per run, and based on my math, which I'm not going to show because I don't have a lot of time, it's like a 10-fold saving on coupons to do it that way, to put in the effort but to save some time by using party summons in key areas to speed up the dailies. Pays off really well. Otherwise you can just use these in general when you're questing, when you're getting around the game, when you need someone to come help you. They're like, oh, I'll come help you. I'm like, cool. Invite you to a party, boom, teleport, don't have to wait for them to come. Really convenient item. Really cheap, worth a few. There, pretty good item. NPC teleport items, these, I call it that because that's what it does. Teleport control equipment. I get 1 for 30 moles. It's pretty expensive, but it allows you to, like, if I write NPC, I get all the NPCs in the game. I can literally just click on this. I've got 168. I'll explain that in a minute. And you can just teleport straight there, like to whatever NPC, and that could be a monster, it could be a trigger. And when you're doing quests, you can just click on the map button and you'll get, you know, the related NPCs, the quest giver or receiver, and the boss. And yes, you can just click and it'll go boom, you go straight to that monster and you kill it. So super convenient item. You can get them for free though, outside of an event. There is in the second part of Free to Mine called Abandoned Mine, you can get boxes from the monsters in there that can drop NPC teleport items, which is why I've farmed myself a nice little stash. And there, I got some Alliance Party summons too. So that's a good item. If you're not at a point in the game where you can farm them, then I'd say buy them. Or if it's just super convenient, but otherwise it's a bad item because you can just go farm them yourself. Pets are really good, obviously. All the pets have the same stat line. You AFK in the game to level them up, so it's very incompatible with premium, because with premium you'll use it up when you're in game. So you want to level your pet up AFK while you don't run anything like premium. It really, the more pay to win players, they're always going to have a pet. You really only want to have one pet at a time. You can only really have one pet at a time. The only purpose in having another pet would be to just have a different looking thing follow you around, which isn't really worth it, because you'd have to level it up separately. I don't think you can trade it. No, you can't trade it. It doesn't come as sealed. So if you're going to buy this from another person, this is definitely something you should just buy yourself if you can afford to put money into the game. If you're a free-to-play player, it can be hard to find a mall seller who's willing to risk sending you the item first, or you risking sending the lance first, because they could scam you and just log out and disappear, especially if they're just a fake character. Not an important name. Like, I could scam people. Like, anyone could scam people. Buying and selling, pretending to buy, pretending to sell a pet. It might be the only situation where a character name change would be worth it, but you know, you have to do a lot of bullshit, because the only way you can get this is by buying it or sending it as a gift to a friend, aka buying it. Moving on. Well, it's kind of moving on. They change in appearance about 3 or 4 times. I think 4 times as they level up to level 10. From being kind of cuter to being a little bit cooler and gnarlier. The first boost that you get, the first level 1 is what it'll be when you first activate it, and that's XP, 10% for 30 days. That's not bad. And then then the item drop, then the extra regens and things like that. And then when you get to level 9 and 10, that's where the real, like, this helps you in PvP a lot more stuff kicks in with the HP and the stats. Outside of that, what a pet does is it automatically loots items, which can be really OP when it comes to bound items, because normally without a pet you would have to click on the bound item in the loot drop up the top here, and then click OK, I want to pick that up, which is lots of extra clicks. In Black Tower, all the dark gear is bound, so that's a lot of extra clicks to sift through the gear while you're being attacked constantly. It takes a lot of work out of the game. When you're in Treasure Dungeon and you're getting your buffs, and you've got lots of buffs to pick up, lots of shit buffs to pick up, you've got loads of bag space, you don't have to sort your bag, you just let it funnel into your bags. A pet is really useful. The initial cost is 600, and then when the 30 days runs out, it doesn't expire, you keep the item. See, this is a pet, it's level 10, I can't activate it because it's been dead for a while, but with a period extension, which will come up in a moment, You put the period extension in here and off it goes again for another 30 days. So really good, really worth it. Everybody who's going to spend money on the game should have one. Pet growth booster, it's basically just an extra level up. It's a rare candy like from Pokemon. So it does get harder to level it up. Like more AFK time. My Mystic AFKs most of the time in the game and has a pet and is at level 7.5. And I'm very tempted to use 2 pet boosters once I get to level 8 to just go give me HP, give me stat, and skip the week or 2 of AFK time. But again, you really could just AFK. But I would like the extra stats sooner rather than later. So pet growth boosters are okay. They're not great. They're not bad. They're not great because you could just wait. Pet name change. You can name your pet. When you first get it, it just says like Oculus. But you can use a pet name change to name it to... my wife or something, you know, or squiggly thing, or even just period. You just dot, you know, dot. You know, you can rename it. And this Pymeo, it's another pet. It should really be up there, but it's down here. And there's your pet period extension, which if you really know you're not going to be playing the game, then just let your pet stay deactivated. I have used a pet period extension before and then barely played the game that month. It's a bit of a waste. And when you have multiple characters, that's when it becomes a lot harder to justify having a pet, because it'll be across multiple characters, especially if it's PvP related and you just want the extra stat line. It would be pretty lame to have like 2 or more PvP characters with pets, and then you're like trying to maintain all these costs on top of it. So it does make a pretty big difference though. I'm making a second PvP character right now, and I know I kind of want to have a pet for when I do want to boost the character, but yeah, it's a hard one. Don't want to talk about that one much more. Good, bad, bad, good. Obviously good when you've got the one and you need it. I try to cycle. I'm Mystic, gonna do a lot of Mystic stuff. When I pop this pet, it's gonna be because I want to do a lot of PvP for a little while, and maybe some PvE when I'm asleep on my Warlord. And then when this runs out, maybe I'll go back to Mystic for a while. So I'm not spending twice the money on pet period extensions. Chance Maker, it lasts for 3 hours and it gives you 2 drops. So you kill a boss and you get 2 drops instead of 1, which is really cool. It's pretty expensive at 400 item mole. If there's an item that you really want though, you use this, you use raid resets, you use tactics, and you spam that boss. You spam that raid and you just keep knocking that down, that raid down. When used correctly and you've got multiple characters and you're going to solo farm Voxian, for example, you can more than make it's like one of the most profitable things you can do in this game if you're just a farmer, is to just use chance makers, free raid resets from previous event, free raid resets and a lot of other item boosts, and then just raid Voxian, for example, over and over and over again. To get top tier enchants, and you know, you only need like 2 Voxian cleverness, which is an enchant from said boss, to make your money back, kind of thing, on the chance maker alone. So, and then everything else is a bonus. So it is pretty ridiculous. You could also use it with farming Infinity Atma. I don't think it would be as worth it, but you know, there are other choices. It's hard to gauge the value at that point, but I know when it comes to like pure raids or getting puzzle pieces, like there's a lot of value potential to be made in a chance maker, especially with an event where it's like, yep, it's only this one time a year anyway, and it might never be here ever again, kind of thing. So that's a really good item, but has to be used in the right hands. Greater Ioxenic Mystery Box. I can't tell you what's in this. It won't tell me. I don't think it's very good. There is a lesser version of this box. I've got them over here. It drops similar stuff to what drops in this box. This is just a more pay to win, but I'm pretty sure nothing really that good in these boxes. It would be really nice to have a loot table provided. I would need a hacker to give me 1,000 of these so I can just go through them and record what I get, so I can like create a table and be like, yeah, here's the rough idea. So we don't know, and we're gonna have to move on. Premium, it's overpriced. It's too expensive. What is it clocking in at? Like 500 item all a day. You can get a 3, a 5, a 7, and at the end of this item all stuff, there's a 1-day premium. In this game these days, premium is when you're in game. That day, that is 24 hours of in-game time, and the clock stops ticking when you go to character screen or log off, exit game. The benefits are interesting. So I'm gonna go back to display capture. I'm gonna how well can you see this? I'm just gonna open it like that so I can tell you I can absolutely guarantee you can see this. This is old information but relevant information. I believe the XP, land, drop rate, all that is still accurate. So on free, you can see all the stuff. So on premium, I'm going to start from the bottom. Forge wise, you get an extra 2%, which could save you a lot if you see the forge event and you're like, huh, it's 45% forge or 47% forge, and you're like, an extra 2% would actually help. Or on the compounding, it would actually help. It would actually push things just that little bit over the line, that you're actually going to save a lot of resources or guarantee something, rather than the 1-2% fail chance, which could suck or burn or require you to use more moles in protections and things like that. Would I use a protection Xeon if I had a 98% success chance? Depending if it was like a super hard to acquire item. Yeah, because I have failed on 99.9% success chance and broken items before, and I think a lot of seasoned Requiem players have. So the forge benefit can be worth it in itself for premium, but it's very situational when you would use it. It's not something you would want to burn. Everybody gets region chat. You used to not get region chat unless you were premium, which was an interesting mechanic. It's better now. This battlefield reward excites me, like the whole getting an extra 30%. It's just a shame that it's 24 hours of game time and then it's gone. But if you were really, like, it was Christmas time and you were doing FOC and you had the 50% boost, and you had the happy hour boost, you had all these boosts, and you had the premium boost of an extra 30%, like, you're gonna be pushing a lot. Really good potential. You get extra banks, you get the two common account expansions, you get the 2 regular accounts, your account, character bank essentially too. So you get a lot more space in your banks during that 24-hour time, which of course, if you're only logging in, like if the premium is for a mule account, then they have all this banking ability, and you're only logging in for like 5 minutes while you just, you know, move stuff around or organize it like that. Like, it could be just useful. Premium could be useful for just, this is my banking account, you know, kind of thing. It is just where I keep extra items, and I don't want to have 2 or 3 accounts full of characters. I just want 1 account full of characters. So you could use premium on that 1 account just for like extra banking potential. Death penalty, not really important, but yes, you'll lose less XP when you die. On premium, not really important. And then the obvious benefits of increased XP, like 75% more XP. It's pretty considerable. You'll feel like you're getting basically double XP. Pretty big deal when leveling up. Only the premium the way it works, the 24 hours, and then there's your day gone. For 500 item ore is pretty expensive. Lent increased, drop chance, that's the big one as well. That extra drop chance. Again, chance makers and raid resets and stuff like that, and more chance to get a drop is good, So that's it for that little spill. That was from our Discord server, Fury's Requiem community Discord server. You can find links in my YouTube, on my YouTube channel. You can find links on probably the Wikipedia. You can find a link on the official Requiem page if you know where to look. It's where a lot of useful information is kept, and we're growing the Discord all the time. I know you can't see it right now, but I'm checking the members anyway, and we are sitting at member 904, and we've been up and down a little bit at that amount, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that. Sorry, just checking the Discord, back to the game. Alright, let's maximize this. Where were we? Okay. Premium. Is it worth it? Oh, there's one more thing to talk about. Okay, you get a daily key, that's like a 1 hour key that lets you go into Premium Dungeon, and there's a bunch of Premium Dungeons. And in Premium Dungeon you can get 2-day items, like similar to more items like tools that do the same thing, but they're free because you got them for free, so that's nice. And there's one in Novolux, and the levels get higher as you go up through the towns. So here's my free key for Novolux, and it goes all the way down to Albin 2, which they finally recently unlocked Albin 2. But people tell me that the drops are better in Trifree and Plancy. These two seem to be better. People are having better luck in these two dungeons. So this is the Trifree one. I would grab the Trifree and then go in there. Now, there are a lot of benefits potentially to it, like the old golem farms and things like that, but for the sake of talking about Premium, this is how we farm Infinity Atma, and Infinity Atma is a key resource in making endgame gear and enchanting and compounding and what have you. So you could make an account and then you twink a character that's really OP. It could just one-shot everything kind of thing, preferably. And it just has the AoEs and the speed and can really like do these dungeon runs in like a really fast time. And farm Atma fast. And then you wait for a drop rate event, and that's when you log this character. You're like, oh yep, double drop, cool. And then with the Premium, you're getting extra drop as well on top of everything, and then you just... The Premium means you can just run straight into this, and it'll let you in without the key, and you can do it all day, every day, until you run out of Premium. Grab Happy Hour, blah blah blah, boom boom boom. It's really good. So... It's really good. I recommend it. It's one of the top ways to farm in the game. You can sell Infinity Atma for a pretty consistent amount of goods. So Premium's a really contentious one. A lot of people would probably say it's crap, it's really bad, don't use it. But based on what I've just said, used properly, it's really good. It's just, I would say, if you're using it for like leveling up, it's pretty bad because of how quickly you're going to run out and how expensive it is. It's good if you can afford it because it's a big boost to your XP and everything. It makes your life very convenient, but it's very expensive. But used carefully, just for farming, if you're going to farm, I don't have the time, so I don't bother. It's well and truly worth it. Although it is tempting sometimes, even though I don't have the time, because obviously if you log out, you save the time. So you could just do one run a day, and it might cost me 5 minutes of time, and it could just be for fun. We're gonna have to move on. Okay, keys. Key to Albin 2 Premium Dungeon. Okay, these are all just keys to the same stuff we're talking about. It's not really worth it. The one time means 1 hour. They're kind of dumb. You got your free daily key, and then this you know, no, you just, you know, 10 of these keys, which is 10 hours worth of keys, is worth the same as premium. So you're better off with premium, and then with the premium, you'd be getting drop rates as a boost. So no, this is shit. Plus, you can't save time. You need to use that key. You need to in out. You know, whereas with premium, you just exit the game. If you exit the game and you use this key expires while you're logged out. Fast Rex is slower than Von Dutch. Von Dutch is your fast. You know, we don't have a fast amount yet. Only characters that have a movement speed boost or Druid with their Vilvery are faster. So I wouldn't bother with Fast Rex unless you really wanted to save 50 moles, but you will be a bit slower. Fast Rex is fast enough to pull off the Black Tower exploit for getting in there, so you might use it for that. Von Dutch, it's really good. This is more important to me, being fast, than extra XP. Just get to be able to get around and complete quests faster and get back to NPCs is going to add up to a lot of savings. I have a permanent one because of an event, so it's bad in the sense that you can get a permanent one. It's good in the sense that if you don't have a permanent one and there's no event on for one, then you've kind of got to have it. You can get 2-day mounts free. Again, it's like a premium dungeon thing, or Juggernaut, which is like one particular raid boss. I'm going to move on. It's good. Costumes, they're kind of not good anymore, but who doesn't like cosmetics? The extra HP is really good early game. Same with the regen. It's mostly just for cosmetics. I really think they need to make these cheaper. Because of how unimportant they are. From the same event where I got the permanent mount, I also got I got all the permanent costumes for this character in particular. I'll show them off a little. I mean, that's what the video is for. Game. I really got to turn my costume off. No, I don't. I need it on, but how do I? That's not what I want. There we go. Alright, so I've got these costumes I can show off. Yes, you can buy them for 30 days. No, that did not work. Okay. There's something really cool you can do where you can use transmogrify and costumes to like show different costumes. I'm showing it off now apparently. Where I've got the wings, but I've also got a Santa Claus costume, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, there's an example of a costume that you actually can't buy right now because it's Christmas only at the moment. I'm gonna go back to my normal setup and not show off too many costumes. I don't have the time. But the cosmetics are pretty cool. Plenty of sexy costumes in the game. Damn, I didn't mean to move that. See, there's the hot dog costume. Saw that for 2 seconds. Is it worth it for the stats? Not really. But it is worth it for the cosmetic. It's worth it for some uniqueness. I really miss using them, but you know. There's this permanent costume, which isn't that permanent costume. Where's my Christmas costume? There. During Christmas, maybe not this last Christmas, it was like the Christmas before that where I got this one. Similar to the pet, you can't trade it, and you've got to rely on someone to sell it to you, which I was fortunate enough to do. It cost like 900 item mall points when it was available in item mall. This comes with 600 HP, which is more than your regular costume as a base stat, but then it allows you to enchant it, which is really good, and then it's permanent as well on top of that. So way back in the day, um, you could swap the permanentness of this costume, and you could have just about any costume in the game as your permanent costume with the enchants. They have stopped that for some reason with the relaunch, and yeah, now it's like just the Christmas costume, and that is why you see a lot of Christmas costumes in the game. Moving on, we're nearly done, and I knew this would speed up once we got to like costumes. And you've got a little nudie costume here too if you want to be a bit raunchy. There's your 1 day prem, 500 item mall. The icon just looks funny because it says 3, whereas it really should just say 1. Bag expansions, normally for free you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bags. Once you've got 5 bags, you just buy the 3 slot and you get 1, 2, 3, and 8. The 8 slot expansion only works if you have only 1 bag. So you have 1 bag and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you could save 200 item mall by just getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags, which you can have by like level 13 or 12 or something like that. So it's really easy to do. So 8 bags is shit, 3 bags is great, extra bags is great. Trust me, look at my bags, look at them, like this is my non-active character. This is more PvP focused, and I've got all this. Okay, half of it's junk. Hey, I've got another costume. See, 2 days. A lot of it's junk, but you know, this bag, most of this bag, and this bag are like, there's 4 bags in itself that I'm pretty actively using. Bags is really good, really important, and it's permanent, so you should probably get that. This is awesome. We never used to have this before. Character appearance change package. This is another one of those open it to look at it. You get face randomizers, you get 2 face randomizers, you get 2 hair randomizers, and then you even get a gender change item, which is pretty good for 400 item mall. So this is good if you're looking at your character and you're just like, oh, you know, why did I pick the ugly face? Why? Like, what am I doing? This is my actual face for this character. Transmogrify really confuses the game. Other people will see me properly, but my client will get confused, which is frustrating. And I might be like, oh, I picked an ugly face. I want the more cool looking face, you know, with the lips shut. I can use the face randomizer for that. Or maybe I'm just sick of listening to a male and I want to be a chick so I can hear the and all the squeaks they make, or whatever, you know, like, you know. Or maybe you're sick of people flirting with you because you picked a female character. People I know. And then, you know, could say a name or 2, but you know, and then you could do a sex change because you just want to be true to your gender in the real world. Anyway, there was one thing left to cover, and then I can finally sign off and go to bed because this went way too long. Magic sticks. Alright, magic sticks. There are boxes in this game, and I will open Lucky Box to point this out. Oh, this is not the best example. You can plus them up to plus 10, I think, and they cost magic sticks every time. It's a lot like the reinforcement system. It gets worse every time. You can spend 100 magic sticks and maybe get a fully maxed out box. And what it means is it takes the gambling out of it at the cost of money. As I said at the start of the video, it's another example of an item you can't trade because there's no ceiling on it. And they're bound on acquired. So actually I think for some magic, see, I've got 42 here. Yeah, from a previous event where you could farm some magic sticks. So that was nice. I don't think I have any examples. Be nice if I could. I think I kind of do. Yeah, I do actually. I'll show you an example. In my bank. It has an example. There used to be AEDs in item mall, which is good. You can farm them for free though, so I guess I'd say they're not that good. Well, this is gonna mess up my bag a little bit. So here's a box. This is a box I don't intend to open. I'm keeping it for collector's purpose because it's another event box. It doesn't have anything super special in it. In fact, it's just got a bunch of season 1 enchants that don't exist anymore, that are just sort of oddities, which can be fun to mess with people. So you reinforce it, and it's a 90% chance to succeed. So I could fail on the first click, and then it goes like 70, and then it goes like 50, or whatever, and it gets all the way down to like 1% or 2% or something like that at the max plus. And what happens is at +1 you can remove an item. So when you open the box you'll get like 9 items, and then +2 remove 2 items, and then if you get it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're left with 1 item because there are 11 items here. And some boxes have like the permanent mount, for example, which is the truth. That's how I got a permanent mount on 2 of my characters. You get these magic sticks and you plus the box and you get to, you know, 9, and it's a 50-50 between the 2 items that you've got here in front of you. Or you go all the way and it's really hard and you might spend like hundreds of magic sticks and you get your item. There are boxes in this game that drop like a 40% stat, which is twice the stat boost of a TD stat boost, 40% HP, or a 20% stat. These items aren't supposed to exist in the game at the moment. Typically you get them from a lucky box. These are our lucky boxes, and these haven't been rotated at all since the relaunch. There's like 25 or 30 or so boxes. I have got all the info on them, but I haven't dug through my archive to bring them up in this video specifically. One of these boxes is a bunch of 30-day mounts, just regular on the ground ones, but they're cool ones. Like riding around on a Santa with tits, or riding around on a horse with like bones sticking out of it and fire coming out of its mouth or something along those lines. Or this big Deathclaw looking thing, which is one of my favorite mounts because it looks really sick. So one of these boxes drops that, another one drops some transmogrify coins and some other weird stuff. One drops a sex change item, which would be great if we didn't have the appearance change item I showed you earlier, and I can't remember. The main point is this is not worth it, and it costs 500 item or per box, and it's really not worth it for any of this. Might be worth it if transmogrifier wasn't a broken thing, which you could dupe, so you know there's no need to go for a box to get your transmogrify coins. That's it, everybody, for my in-depth mall guide. It might get updated in the future if the mall gets reshuffled or stuff changes, a lot changes. All 4 videos are intended to be similar to like a letter to the developers, and it's supposed to give them a heads up on a bunch of stuff they could do to improve item mall and make more money, and for all of us to have a better time of playing the game and choices of things to spend our money on. The first video is going to be the obvious stuff. It's going to be titled something along those lines, and I'm just going to point out like the stuff that's right in front of me in item mall, the stuff that's broken, a lot of stuff I've already pointed out in this video. It should only take like 5 minutes to make that, 5 minutes for that video. And I'm also going to do a video on what's not in item mall and not so obvious. In the third video, I'm going to focus on Lucky Box and point out what's wrong with that and how we can improve that. And in the fourth video, I'm going to do a rather large video, 20, 40 minutes long, on Transmogrify. There's a lot of things wrong with Transmogrify, and I can't wait to cover it all because I'd really, really like them to fix Transmogrify. I think a cosmetic pay option that could be Transmogrify is good for the game, good for the community, good because it can give people something to make themselves more unique among other characters, such as the way I dress my character, my armors for my warlord. The more cosmetic options, the better, essentially. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to making more videos sometime soon. See ya.